Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nathaniel for the Lulz. Today, we're going to be enjoying a scrumptious piece of pumpkin pie in favor of the Thanksgiving holiday. The Thanksgiving holiday has roots in the original Pilgrim's voyage and conquest to the Americas. On the Mayflower, they sailed across from where they started to get to the Americas, where after many deaths and much struggle, they were finally able to come together with their brethren and succeed and flourish in this new climate. And today, and every year since, we have celebrated with good food, good family, good fortune, and everything that we're thankful for. Today, to help me out with eating this apple pie, I have some whipped topping. Originally made from cream harvested from cows, specifically in the American regions, it is then processed used with some more maledict kind of formation to then make this more fluffy and airy version of your favorite dairy product. Let's bust this baby open. Look at that whipped topping. I'm now going to use my spoon, forged from some stainless steel, probably made in the Chinas, and I am going to scoop some of the, what is this called? Whipped topping. I'm going to scoop some of the whipped topping, and I am going to place it ever so delicately onto the pumpkin pie slice, making sure that I evenly distribute it across the entire slice to make sure that I get a consistent and delicious flavor throughout the eating experience. And then I'll just go ahead and eat the rest. You gotta love it. This whipped topping has already been distributed throughout the pie, but we will keep it anyway just in case we need to add a little bit more throughout the eating process. I'm going in for the first bite. You guys can't see this off camera, but I messed up a little bit while cutting the pie, and so there is a little blemish on the side from the other piece, which we're just going to have to accept. As you can tell, I really took a second to savor that piece. The kind of pumpkin mush that they have used to make this pie's flavor, along with the crispy crust, form together to make a delectable and traditional food for the Thanksgiving holiday. I will now go in for my second bite, almost completely removing the blemish from the aforementioned failed cutting. Unfortunately, it seems that the ways of this store-bought pumpkin pie has made the crust a little bit less attached to the pumpkin mush than you would generally expect, and thus it seems that the crust has separated itself from the pumpkin mush, and I have thus created an inequality inside of the pie. Nothing to worry about though, as we can just go ahead and use our spoon to cut it off. Now we can enjoy some delightful overtures from our normal flavor of pumpkin pie with just the crust and little small bits of whipped topping on the spoon, the remnants of our past bites. How nice. I'm now going to go in for the third bite. We've got a big piece this time with an even distribution of crust, pumpkin mush, and of course our aforementioned whipped topping. As you could see when I was taking that bite, it seems I went a little bit over the top with that little portion. But, with the holiday season quickly approaching with this Thanksgiving holiday, it can be easy to get overexcited about things, whether it be the breaks from school, the time with family, or the overall just presence of these happy holidays. It can just make you feel a little bit overexcited. Oh, my apologies. It seems that the pumpkin pie has made a little bit of a empty space bubble inside my throat, which was quickly declared to be 2 empty space bubbles inside my throat, causing me to let out a sort of belch followed by a slightly smaller belch. My apologies for that. Going back to what I was saying, there are actually different types of tongues that you can use to get that big bite in, from how big my mouth was when I stretched it out to get that bite in. There's 3 types: super tasters, neutral tasters, and non-tasters. It all depends on your DNA and how many tongue and how many taste buds are in your tongue. If you have a lot, then you're a super taster and you can't handle spicy food as well. A neutral taster is obviously in the middle, and a non-taster can taste spicy foods and eat them easier. As you can see, I'm starting to kind of break down this facade of a general and calm person as I'm starting to kind of forget weird, cool, formal ways to say things to keep up this kind of entourage and mirage for what our friend for what this generation does for some reason sometimes, where it's funny to act really formal and over explain things. I'm now going to go in for the 4th bite, going a little bit less crazy this time so that I don't get that overture and overreaction that I had on that last bite. That was a delicious bite. Maybe not as much whipped topping as you would expect, but it was still delectable, and my neutral tasting taste buds really enjoyed it. You could probably tell that my voice was getting a little bit higher during that octane of this review, but it was just due to it was just due to a piece of the pumpkin pie that I had just consumed not fully making its way through one of my throat cavities, meaning that I kind of had to rush the sentence if I didn't want to stuttering like what I have been doing the past 3 to 4 minutes ever since this facade has been generally breaking down. I'm now going to go for the 5th piece, the last main piece of the pie. As you can tell, that bite was also a little bit overambitious. Not as bad as the 3rd bite, but still a little bit too much for my body. You can tell that, but by the way, I split my tongue like this to get the last remnants of the bite into my mouth. Still a very delectable centerpiece. And now we get to my favorite part of the pie crust. This is crumbly and delightful, which kind of stops the main issue that I have with this delicacy, that there might be a little bit too much pumpkin mush sometimes, and it can kind of drown out the other flavors. I am going in for the last bite. As I failed to stop mentioning, that bite also seemed to be a little bit too much for my mouth cavity, meaning that I had to kind of overstretch it and crumble the last piece to get it all in. You might have also noticed that I needed to scratch my nose during part of it, which momentarily stopped the chewing process to make sure that nothing interfered with itself. On top of all of this, for the past 4 to 3 minutes, due to the lack of actual movement of my head, with me just staring into the camera, my nose is starting to get a little bit itchy right here. But I will refrain from itching it now that I have brought so much attention to it. And now, as you can see, we have an empty plate, only with the remains of what used to be a delicious little morsel of Thanksgiving joy. On top of that, we're going to close up our whipped topping. Thank you for being such a trooper. You really added a new and fragrant flavor to the pumpkin pie experience. I'm now just starting to go insane, so I'm going to end it here. Everybody, have a happy Thanksgiving. And remember, global warming is a real issue in this country right now, so make sure you do your part. Recycle.